All right, let's go out here and hop in a trade here on Qualcomm. And Qualcomm breaking above 74, gonna pop in here. We may be paying 5, 10 cents a little extra on Qualcomm, but basically in here gonna buy 10 contracts of the January 72 and a half. Okay, let's see if we can get a $1.97 here. Let's see if they'll let us split it. Yeah, they did. $1.97. Qualcomm anywhere between $1.90 and 2.05. Pretty good. And this is just based on the trend rider and vibe signal on Qualcomm that we've been discussing. It's not for the challenge; it's for the trend rider and vibe here. But hopping into Qualcomm, I will be right back. Let me make sure the email and text sent out here. All right, looks like we're good to go there. So in on Qualcomm, the January 72 and a half calls, $1.97, the price, anything between $1.90 2.05. I don't think it's bad. I think from a risk reward standpoint, set up very nicely here. Okay, Qualcomm January 72 and a half calls. Okay, 10 contracts. 10 contracts of the Qualcomm January 72 and a half calls. Okay. Sounds good, Trade Town. Yeah, $1.82 this morning. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you guys know I bought into some on Friday. Got a little cheaper price on Friday. But it's giving a little more confirmation today. Can you argue the confirmation doesn't mean as much because it's last day of the year? Sure, you can make that argument. But overall, things are still in a very bullish position here. Okay. And look, Qualcomm, for those of you who like to trade Apple, I mean, look, there's a correlation between Apple and Qualcomm. It's not 1 to 1, but there's a correlation there overall between Qualcomm and Apple. Uh, you know, look, does Qualcomm going up generally bode well for Apple? Sure, and vice versa. Okay. All right. Qualcomm, as far as risk reward here, okay. Look, this has trend rider aspects here. Okay, if we pull this up on the trend rider, okay, piercing the upper band, okay, piercing the upper band, RSI above 50, Bollinger Bands contracted, piercing those bands, very similar to back here in August or beginning of September. So we have very nice trend rider. We have bull vibe triggers, right? That came in earlier or last week, where the major moving averages are all trending up. We have the MACD improving, almost turning green, almost turning bullish here overall. Okay. Yeah, Darren, the monthlies on Qualcomm, correct? Yeah, you got it. Okay. Okay. So um, with this Qualcomm here, uh, sorry, I'm just responding to a question here. Trend Rider entry NDC. With Qualcomm, we have both Vibe and Trend Rider aspects going for it. What don't we have going for it? We don't have volume. Okay, we don't have volume. Is that a bad thing? Well, if the trade doesn't work, we could look back and say, well, we didn't have the volume. But given the time of year, given the environment, we're not going to expect to have a ton of volume. And the stock was in a bullish position, before. It's not like this is something that's brand new bullish. Yeah, more brand new triggers, but not brand new bullish. Okay, with Qualcomm there. Okay. So we're into Qualcomm. We're actually seeing the market take the leg up. Okay, mentioned earlier that with the way the sell-off came a little early, we might actually see a rally into the close. That's kind of starting to materialize. It's not huge here. It's not incredibly large. At this point, I'm not going to make any. Yes, we're staying with Boeing. We're staying with Boeing. Not going to make any new trades for the site. Okay, not going to make any new trades for the site, but I do want in this account to go get into a couple other trades. For disclosure, in this account, I have the Tesoro spread we had talked about. I have Tesoro calls. As we had talked about, I now have kind of a double position here in Qualcomm, and I have Bank of America and Boeing. Okay, I'd like to add one or two things to it. Some of the things that have been on the top of my list. Okay, Google. I like the action in Google. Apple. I like the action here in Apple. Um, and overall, they're in very strong vibe bull trends. I do get a little concerned. This kind of just a 1 day pop on Apple before it bleeds back to that 550 area? I feel much more comfortable with Apple at 550. Nucor. Okay, we got out of Nucor, but I still like Nucor a lot. One of the things that's happening with Nucor is this is one that's kind of coming down towards the lower band. Now, Nucor, my problem if I buy into Nucor here, I don't want out at 53. So I'd probably do kind of a smaller position and look to either add on a move higher or add if we get back down to 52 and a half. And we kind of do the same thing with U.S. Steel, and U.S. Steel's kind of in the same boat. Okay, absolutely that same boat there. Let me go price these X options out a little bit here. Let me take a look. U.S. Steel, the 28s are pretty much, we're dealing with 30 cents of fake value there. They're actually pretty good value here on U.S. Steel, the January 28s. The thing I like about U.S. Steel over Nucor is simply the overall outperformance. U.S. Steel had fresh new highs. Nucor not really at fresh new highs. Does it matter? Probably not. Okay, probably not. We could argue that Nucor wants to make up. We could argue that U.S. Steel is going to outperform. The other trade I really like on the board out there is Schlumberger. I really like what the price action here in Schlumberger on an hourly, daily aspect. It's very, very nice. Holding on to the upper band. Yeah, we had a little bearish engulfing yesterday on no volume. It doesn't really matter. But again, this is one of those things. It finally pulled back, right? I mean, Schlumberger had been on such a tear all year. Finally had a pullback. Light volumes, not incredibly high volumes. No real bad news. We had some volumes build back in around 85 and 86 here, and now is giving signs that it's ready to go. Schlumberger, even from a longer term standpoint, this week's action starts to push it back above 90, back above the 7 week moving average. We just have a lot of different bullish things going on there, and really, it's kind of in that position where, all right, if it decides to break down to 89 if it decides to break down to 89 here on Schlumberger, all right, I know. Okay, I'll need to kind of pop out on those. Yeah, Richard, can I rate them or rank them? Yeah, Qualcomm number one. Okay, that's why I did it on the site, right? Qualcomm number one, absolutely number one. My number two would be Schlumberger. Okay, my number two would be Schlumberger. Okay. My number three, from a price action standpoint and a stock standpoint, is KB Home. I don't have nearly the same bullish argument for KB Home as can be made for Schlumberger or Qualcomm. Those are much better bullish arguments. Okay, with KB Home, I don't have as much of a bullish argument. In fact, I have volume breakout above 18. I have a little bit, but also with KB Home, I don't have the best options here. So I'd have to go a little bit deeper into the money, and I'd probably come out here to February, look at some of these February 17s, or even some of these February 18s. But as I price these options out, I'm just, they're just not as nice as I would like to see. Okay, but that would be my number three. The steel sector. Okay, the CLFs, the U.S. Steels, the Nucors, getting into the coal, the BTU. They're kind of all the same, right? I really like this group, but I'd have to put it number four simply because, if the market doesn't gap up on Thursday, I think there's still a potential for more pullback within this group. Look at BTU on an hourly. I'm not dealing with the consolidation. I'm dealing with something that is now moved up. And, to go to a consolidation, pull back to 19, is a reality there. And that's what I'm concerned with overall. Okay. I do think financials have a lot of upside here into the new year. Why do I say that? Well, take a look at the TLT. Okay, the TLT here, shot down. Okay, shot down, broke down, was trying to set a new low. The TLT has kind of bounced back as it doesn't want to close on a year low. If we start to get a fill of this shadow come Thursday, Friday, I think that'll give enough catalyst for people to start buying into the financials. The other thing we've seen with the financials overall, okay, is we have seen an incredible amount of call buying throughout the month of December. There's been a lot of call buying, not all on December options. We've seen it on January and February options, where the call buyers have really been going out a little bit in time. Now, I already own some Bank of America, right? I already own some Bank of America calls, so for me to add more financials, I'm probably not going to do that. Okay. Yeah, SLB, the option. In fact, let me go make the trade here. I'm just going to get into some of these. I was looking at the 87 and a half calls, the January 87 and a halfs. They're about 250 real value, $1.30 fake value. Is that a little higher than I want? Yeah, it is. But I also don't have a huge delta on this to where if it does open weak come Monday, I have a huge amount of risk there. Okay. And it's one of those things where the delta, Schlumberger goes up $2, the delta's gonna really kick up, and I'll still have a great gain if we go to a new high. Uh, but I have an aggressive option on Qualcomm. I kind of have a little more of an aggressive option, on Tesoro. So I don't need to get incredibly aggressive here. But this is kind of what I like, the January 87s when I priced them out. I did look at the 90s. Okay, and the 90s are all fake value. They're $1.80 in fake value, and I guess it doesn't give any forgiveness there if it doesn't work kind of right away there. Okay. I'm gonna pop into some of these. I thought I'd have to pay about 335 or 340. They're going for 325, 330 here. They may cheapen a little bit into the close. I don't want to pull the trigger on things just yet. Just I want to really wait till that last minute, just in case we do get that flush down, and I can pop into them cheaper. The other thing that I have on my radar to get into is just the IWM. Just buy the small cap. Okay. Just buy the small caps here, and that's one of the things that I'm looking at there. No, trade hound with Schlumberger, I would do the January 87 and a halves. Okay, we're about on these. We're about 2 to 1 intrinsic versus extrinsic value. So we have about $2 in real value for every dollar of fake value. Good reward potential. Schlumberger goes up about 250, which is what, about 3% on Schlumberger. We'll have a 60 to 70% gain on that. Okay. Yeah, it's not the best in the world there, but at the same time, Schlumberger falls a little bit. It's not gonna be as painful. Yeah, I'm just gonna wait till the close, right? I will probably get into two more positions into the close, and you know, go from there. But I won't do that here probably for the next, at least 10 minutes. And that just simply comes down to, look, what's the market going to do? Can I get a cheaper price? It's not going to adjust my decision on what I want to get into. It just really, what's the price that I can get into there? In regards to Schlumberger, Halliburton's also very interesting. You guys know I'm bullish on Halliburton. I like Halliburton a lot. Halliburton pulled back yesterday, getting a little bit of a rally here today. We do have the contracting bands on Halliburton, but they are contracting in a way where we get an upside action on them and pierce those bands. We can see a lot of money come into Halliburton very, very quickly. Um, Halliburton, I generally opt to play Halliburton over Schlumberger because the options tend to be better. You tend to get a little better movement in them. In fact, even if we look at the January 49s here on Halliburton, the options are going to be a much bigger reward. Should Halliburton go up about the same amount as Schlumberger, the options are going to be better. But at the same time, I have to take into account that the options on Halliburton will also be more painful if they go against me. Okay, so that's how risk tolerant do I want to be, and so that's kind of what I have to look at there. Max, I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you here with Mastercard as far as a New Year's bounce. Um, I fully agree. I just I Look, Mastercard's been the clear winner. You got Visa still going, you got Discover still going, you have Capital One still going. Mastercard's been the strongest. There's a a value play kind of going on here. There's still good value. Another one that I like here is Chipotle Mexican Grill. This is one where the hourlies has kind of been dancing around between 530, 535 all week. Okay, and I watch it go up, watch it go down, up, down, all around. And look, if it gaps down on Thursday, I can say, you know what, let me kind of move on out there. The options here on Chipotle Mexican Grill, the spreads are a little high, right? I mean, relative to what we see, but from a percentage basis, they're not really bad at all. Are these options? Okay, good deal, WKYC. Got audio back. Good deal. All right, so it just comes down to kind of deciding which I want. These are things I've just kind of been watching, looking at. KB Home, Schlumberger, Hal, Medtronic, Medtronic, Chipotle Mexican Grill. The action here, the action on Medtronic. If this was any other day, there's been more volume on Medtronic than there have been on a lot of different things. And the hourly action where it kind of pierces up in that upper band, kind of sells off, gets bought back in the last hour. On normal days, this is very bullish type of closing action here for Medtronic. Okay, and so really like Medtronic. Yeah, on Schlumberger, I haven't made it yet. I'm looking at these January 87 and a halfs. January 87 and a half. So I may have to pay a little bit more for them by waiting into the close, but that's that's kind of the risk. The next 15 minutes, the direction is very, unpredictable. Boeing. We saw Boeing go negative, and now it's up 50 cents. I think it rallying into the close is actually, in general, more bullish than selling off into the close would be bearish. Okay. Um, yeah, MDT strike price. Sorry if I go silent here. I'm trying to trying to look at everything. When I'm on video, I can't see as much as I can when I'm off, but just trying to kind of scan through things here. Yeah, Medtronic here. The From a strike price standpoint, the 55s. The January 55s are a lot of real value. They're $2.40 is what they're worth, real value, and they're going for 244, 259. The spread's a little high, but the options are cheap. Overall for Medtronic. So these January 55s here. Okay. Yeah, John's been all over FedEx. Yeah, hitting a new high there. Hitting a new high. I mean, we're seeing futures we're seeing some acceleration to the upside here overall in the market as we head into the close here. I mean, we're not just going up. It's surging here. It's absolutely surging in a way where a lot of years we've seen it kind of sell off like this. Last year was the anomaly. Okay, last year was absolutely the anomaly there, but up it goes. What does that do? Well, it does a couple things here. It makes me feel a little better about some of the charts. Okay. The Schlumbergers and the Halliburtons and different things like that. Even the Qualcomm breaking above the 74, makes me feel a little better about the charts. Yeah, Tesoro and those different things. But, heck, I'd rather have it cheaper than feel better about the charts. But hey, tis what it is. Can the market come all the way back down into the close? Yeah. No, it's just something where it's just really. I don't think there's any real technical change that's going to happen here. Look, I can't argue taking a little bit of profit in the refiners. At the same time, I mean, they have all signs of breaking already. I mean, Tesoro to sit here and see Tesoro trading at 65 a week and a half from now would not be out of the realm of what Tesoro could be. Okay. But at the same time, you're hitting the upper end of the consolidation range. It is trying to break the 58 and a half here, but you can see this consolidation range hitting the up. It's hit it on slightly higher lows. Okay. But there's a chance of pullback. Yeah, there's obviously a chance of pullback with it. Max, PW, how many contracts am I looking at SLB? Um, I generally, in this account that I'm trading, and this isn't my personal account, this is an account that I trade for somebody else, pro bono, and so, I trade this kind of as my trading from a legal standpoint. With SLB, I'd probably be looking to put about 2,500 to 3,000 on it. With what this account is. Okay. So on these 87 and a halfs, 10 contracts, eight to 10 contracts, somewhere in that area. Max, you bring up a good point. Getting a little too heavy on the long side. Yeah, you have to decide how heavy do you want to get on the long side. Do you want 3, 2, 1, 5, 10? For everyone, that's a little bit different. Like I mentioned, I have Bank of America, Boeing, Qualcomm, and Tesoro. I'd like to get one or two more. Would that be a little heavier than I'd like to get? Yes, it would be a little bit heavier than I typically like to get. Uh, but with where the time of the year is, I'm willing to do that. This Verizon, I don't have a lot of technical justification here, other than just consolidation back to the 7-day moving average. I don't have a ton of technical reason here, but this is kind of a gut feel here with Verizon, and so I may just kind of go into the weekend, buy some Verizon, buy some Schlumberger, and holding what I have and be happy. Yeah, low bid. Do I ever use synthetic stock spreads? I don't. I don't. Have you used those? Do you like those? The one thing that kind of compelling about Verizon is just the option values. I mean, the option values are tremendous from a risk reward standpoint. They're really good. And Verizon's been kind of one of the dogs. They're not bottom five, but they've been one of the weaker groups out there. And see some pop. I'm gonna go in. We're about 8 minutes into the close. I'm gonna go see if I can put an order out here for Verizon. Some January 48s. It's not an aggressive position overall, but some January 48s here. See if I can get $1.24. We'll see if that fills. May not. Yeah, Max. You bring up a good point. Feels like they want to close SPX 1850 to end of year. John and I were talking a little bit ago, and we were almost talking. It almost feels like they want to push 2000. That the market wants to try to push 2000 early in 2014 on the S&P. It's kind of what it almost feels like, but we'll see. They're not going to fill my 124 bid here very quickly, are they? I'm just going to not haggle over it. I'm going to just fill it at 125. Again, I don't have a ton of technical justification for Verizon. This is not as pretty of a chart as some of the other things. Okay, but what it does do is it gives me a little exposure to an area that I have no exposure in with my current trades. Okay. Um, PW, yeah, these are not trades. These are not official trader minute trades that I'm sending out. The Qualcomm was send out the email and text. If I try to send out this Verizon trade or a Schlumberger trade or an Apple trade or another trade that I'm going to do, by the time it goes out, no one's able to really react to it. Okay. But with the way the end of the year happens, I really wanted to wait till the end of the year. Okay, overall. Worrybird, good point. Verizon pays dividend in early January. How does that affect the prices? Dividends are priced in. Okay, the dividends are priced into the options. Generally, there's very little effect. Occasionally, there is. Okay, as they're not always in a great spot, or they don't have it fully priced, Worrybird. But in general, they're fully priced. And look, Verizon, this isn't something that I really want to hold for two, or I probably wouldn't even want to hold it over this weekend. This is something I'm be looking for a shot up to 50, take my money and run. Okay, that's really what Verizon is, and really, if Verizon starts to weaken come Thursday morning, it starts to break below 49. I don't want to mess with it. I'll be out real fast. Okay, so from a risk reward standpoint, it's phenomenal. Does it have all the technical justification? No, not necessarily. Sounds good. Sounds good, Trade Town. Glad you beat me. Yeah, Apple looking good. Some bid coming in on that into the end. Google getting some bids coming here on the ends. Here, Bank of America, yep, getting some bids here into the close. Boeing getting a little bit of a, kind of a little bit, not too much there. Qualcomm in a nice position overall. So like I said, just for this account, I want to add one more thing. It's a matter of what do I want to add. I like KB Home. I kind of look at Verizon as almost a similar trade as KB Home. I know they're completely different stocks, but both are kind of interest rate sensitive, or have had some correlations, non-correlations there. Oh, the other position I have in this account is Kihu, but Kihu's kind of a flyer there. Um, what I was hoping is I was hoping to pick up some IWM into the close on a pullback. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping we'd actually see this go the other direction, where we would see the market sell off 6 points into the close instead of rally. Uh, this is kind of what it did last year. Very, very similar to what it did last year, where it kind of sold off early and then rallied into the close. Okay. Um, does that make a difference on things? Not really. It just means prices in general aren't as cheap. Okay. They aren't as cheap there. Yeah. I mean, I feel better about Schlumberger at 89.30 than I do here at 90. Because part of my concern here is, all right, if we don't get the gap up, if we don't get that breakout, I'm gonna have to ride at the 89.30, and I'm gonna like it there, and I'm gonna have just as much risk, at that point. Okay. The SLB that I was looking at here, let me pull it up. The SLB that I'm looking at here is the um, January 87 and a half. Okay, the January 87 and a half. And now we're getting a little pullback here at the end. Now, the one thing that you can do is you can trade SPY and IWM options after hours. Okay, so since this is taking so much time to kind of develop, we're finally getting some of that end of year selling kind of hitting in here. If I don't get an order filled right away and I want IWM or SPY, I can still get that after hours. You'll notice, even on this uptick, not every stock went up. On this downtick, not every stock went down. It's going to be pretty variable there. Put an order in for 340 for Schlumberger, and I got it. So made my decision there. Schlumberger. Okay. So, here I'll show you what the positions are. Boeing, Bank of America, Qualcomm, Kihu, Schlumberger, Tesoro, and Verizon. This is the Valero that I shut down today here. Okay. Market surging to a new high here into the close. Yeah, the Schlumbergers were the January 87 and a halves. Okay. Yeah, new start now. Yeah, there you go. There you go. The best part about trading. The best part about trading is it just doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. All right, looks like we had the bell. We're closed here. Market wrapped up for the year. We'll still see futures trade a little bit. This will affect fair value come come um, come Thursday. It will affect fair value, but we'll see how that runs there. Okay. All righty. Well, please be safe tonight. Those of you who have big parties planned, be safe. Those of you like me who will probably crawl into bed around 8 o'clock. Uh, well, we'll see you next year. But no, great having you aboard. Please, any questions, feel free to let us know. Carl will be back with you on Thursday as well. Also, as we head into next week, I will start to introduce you to Josh, who will be bringing some market breadth type of knowledge and skill here to the market or to you. You'll see a new feature on the website called Market Breadth, where it'll be taking a look at 9 factors in regards to understanding the bullish, bearish strength of the broader market. And Josh will be kind of manning that and kind of be the expert in regards to that. You won't see me on chat as much, and that's for just one simple reason. That is because I have my head buried in the trade. So I will be getting on a few times a day. I'll talk about what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, and but I will have my head much more buried in the day-to-day trades from a much more aggressive standpoint, as we go forward here. All right. Thanks. Have a great one, and we will talk to you later. Take care.